Hey, I'm Lovemedo, and today I'm answering some questions with Milky. It's hard to pinpoint exact thing on what was the most contributing factor towards me pursuing music, but I think at an early age I started listening really actively to music and dissecting it and listening very consciously, and I think the things that were happening to me by doing that, or the things that the artist had put in there to provide for me to pick up on, I was really fascinated by that. And for that moment you feel sort of like personally addressed by that person, and I thought that was a really cool, unique, humanitarian way to connect with someone was through music. And I just knew that one day I wanted to be on the other side of that and be the person who was providing that experience for someone else to feel seen and addressed that way. So I think that's really it. Maybe, yeah, as a young child, being fascinated by that is what drew me towards wanting to pursue it. Growing up as an artist is a weird one, and by the time artists arrive on our doorstep when we consume them, they're sort of already developed and a full person in that way. And I think growing up I went through a lot of trial and error and finding myself, and I can definitely recall moments where I was doing things for someone else and not for me, or not for what I believed my true purpose was. So Sit Me Down, Shut Me Up for me really feels like an arrival point that I've arrived at, where people are not only ready to discover me, but ready to discover the fully fledged, unapologetic sort of arrived version of me, if you will. There's a lot of things that I create and I'm like 80% in love with it previously, but this time around I think I've just done it for a long enough time now that I'm good at filtering what's true and honest and authentic to me, and that's all that I really allow to come out now. So Sit Me Down, Shut Me Up is my first time achieving that with a record, I think. I like to sort of think of the EP as a blueprint for what the Lovemedo project even is, because each song is quite different, but they all share a similar vein and they feel like they're born out of the same place. So I think if I was to sum it up in that way, every song is sort of like a nod or me acknowledging a significant musical moment that occurred to me throughout my lifetime. And I've always been in love with the idea of preserving things that I love and almost recreating them and paying homage to. So I feel like the record could be recognized as a modern day musical moment that's equivalent to ones that we've had in the past. I was listening to a lot of post-punk and grunge and sort of existential stuff, and that had a massive impact on the way that I wanted to communicate the messages in the EP. The strongest overall thing that you're promised when listening to this EP is the proximity with me, that direct exchange from me to you when you do listen to one of my songs. So yeah, I think the authenticity is something for me that leads it and is what I most identify with on the project. I think it feels awful to say this, but I think a lot of the sound that came about with Sit Me Down, Shut Me Up was born out of laziness. I had done so much like creating before then, and I think when you make music as a developing artist, there's so much that you have to prove to yourself. Like, can I do this, or can I get away with this, or is this even possible? There's so many questions that you sort of assign yourself to leave unanswered until you answer them. But I was so comfortable in my artistry and in what I was capable of that I didn't care about not only proving things to myself anymore, but to any other people. So in a way, it felt like I was being lazy. But I think what that really translates to is me just only really focusing on the most potent ideas and accepting that those are the best ideas and the other ones aren't, even if I'm in love with them because they're my ideas. There's so much of an ego battle. So yeah, I'd say that. There is one consistent thing. I think I always seem to come up with titles first, and I love titles that paint an immediate picture before you even hit play on the song. So like Fake Plan on Fire, Dancing on the Line, they're these physical things that you can immediately imagine, and I think that just jumpstarts the process of getting into someone's mind and not just living on the surface when presenting art to them. So I think, yeah, titles that are really poetic or romanticized is what inspires me to start creating something. A lot of the process on this was was really traditional songwriting, so sitting down with an instrument and writing a song. I kind of fell out of love with making music as I was producing it or as I was recording it. It just seems to bring out a lot of overcompensation, and because you want to hear the song finished as quick as possible, you start putting things in there to add towards the idea of it being finished without it being great. So yeah, I think the process of this record was very traditional in that way. I'm sitting down at instruments, writing songs, you know. I think a lot of the time people who control everything on their project can be seen as people who just think it's good because they did it or that they need to do it to make it good. But the lack of collaboration in my sort of musical journey so far is more born out of a place of wanting to preserve that promise that I have, and that's, you know, it's from me to the person listening. And I don't know why, I haven't fully figured out why that's so important to me, but I think it just comes down to the fact that in a world of so many fabricated things or things that are performative, I just want to be something that I can promise someone is real and something to believe in. It would feel really important to some people right now. So whilst my writing and my taste and my control on this project might not have created something that is for everyone, it means more to me that it's really for some individuals rather than for everyone. You know what I mean? I'd rather have like 100 diehard super people, fans, I hate calling them that, but people who love my music rather than like a million indifferent people, you know what I mean? So yeah. That's tricky because one of the almost building blocks to my project is that it's sort of like, okay, I'm going to get foodie on you now. It's sort of like a good meal, like something's great, but it becomes really great when you put it with this, right? So I feel like my songs are best digested with the context of each other. So to really get it, you've got to do that. But if I had to pick one song, I guess maybe Fake Plan on Fire has the strongest snapshot into my artistry and the strongest snapshot into my soul. I think maybe, yeah, I'd have to go with that. Fake Plan on Fire. It's funny, as a musician, the one I'm most proud of is the intro, like the intro track, which has no lyrics and it's like 40 seconds long. But it is it's my favorite musical piece maybe that I've ever made. I think song, the one that lives closest to my soul is maybe You Have the Heavens. Every artist dreams of making a masterpiece, if you want to call it that. And I think that song is the closest thing that I've had to achieving that in my journey so far. And it's one of the only songs that I can say truly was born from a place that comes directly out of me. I don't believe that there's such thing as original ideas. I think everything you ever make is in some way, shape or form a regurgitation or a rebirthing or a retelling of a story you've already heard. But that one feels like it's truly mine in that way. So yeah, You Have the Heavens for sure. Yeah, I mean, we were putting out the singles for this record and I was playing a few shows at that time, and it was a big mission putting my band together. I ended up meeting some of the most beautiful people who are the correct people to be retelling these songs with me on stage. Yeah, I had a good time playing those gigs so far. There's not really anything lined up for the immediate future, but touring and live is really the original birthplace of Lovemedo, and it's where I really shine. You know, records are one thing, but I grew up playing instruments in front of people, so it was always about taking the stage to the studio rather than the studio to the stage. So yeah, definitely there will be a lot of live activity, and you should definitely come if you see a show near you, for sure. Bon Iver, at the moment, McGee, Dijon, David Bowie, Holly Humberstone, Imogen Heap, the list goes on. Maybe at the moment, McGee. Yeah, actually, would be fun. Hats by the Blue Nile for sure. I've actually got a lyric from one of their songs tattooed on my arm. So yeah, definitely Hats. Best song of 2024. The new Fontaine's DC song, Starburster, I think it's called. Slammer. I hope that's the right name. Trainspotting, for sure. I want to get those grimy jungle beats and get weird with it on that movie for sure. That'd be hilarious. Hannah Montana, man. Oh, actually, Miley Cyrus kind of fucks. Miley Cyrus, yeah. Maybe Skinny Love by Bon Iver. I was actually I think All Zombie by the Cranberries was the first song I learnt to sing and play on guitar. My dad taught me. Shout out, Dad. It's Short Stack at a local RSL in like 2008, I want to say. That was technically my first concert. I saw the Rolling Stones like 4 years ago in an arena, which is like for someone my age a once in a lifetime thing. But Bon Iver at the ICC last year was pretty life-changing. I actually remember that it was Mika's first album. When he released Grace Kelly and all those tracks, I went and bought that on CD. Yeah. 100% a Spice Girl. 100%. Sexy Spice. Easy. Yeah, the one where I played to a half-eaten Parmigiana, maybe, when I was 18 or something. That stands out the most to me. King of Wishful Thinking by Go West. Something like that. For some reason, I would really love to see Gracie Abrams sing like Fake Plan on Fire or something. I love her so much, so yeah. I think for some reason, I really want to play in like a really grand outdoor space. Like I know these are meant to be quick, but sorry, side note. There's a live Pink Floyd performance in the ruins of Pompeii, and I just think that's ethereal and amazing. It would be really cool to play something like that. The Downtown Lights by the Blue Nile, for sure. It would have to be maybe the 1975, for a long time, every artist's favorite artist, but yeah, so maybe someone like that, or McGee, or Dijon, someone like that. To trust my taste, because quite often I'm quick to judge, and sometimes I look back on stuff I did and I find it really endearing. So yeah, try not to get stuck in my head in the moment and just do. I was watching Ed Sheeran play to an arena with just a guitar, and that was profound to me at the time. I was a big Ed Sheeran fan. So yeah, maybe that moment.